Whether it's putting together a sandwich or preparing a meal, how conscious are you of what you're doing with your food? Cooking instructor Marisa Mariella joins us now with why it's so important, and it's important for our mental health.
Exactly. Good morning, Annette. Thank you so much for having me on again. So you said it, what are we doing with our food? Conscious cooking is more, it goes beyond just what we do with food, about eating. You know, it incorporates the role that food plays in nurturing our whole body, mind, and spirit. And Annette, the exciting part is that it understands that even the act of cooking and baking can contribute to that sense of well-being.
So you've got some steps you've lined up here. So the first is to kind of set your intention. Know maybe that, yeah, you're following a recipe from Pinterest or the web, but it's not going to look exactly like that. And that's not the reason you're doing this.
Oh my goodness, you said it so well. You know, don't burden yourself.
That's my cooking.
Don't burden yourself with what those photos look like. You know, you're going to make it your own. And you have to remember that those photos, they've probably baked like 100 cookies to pick out, you know, the perfect dozen. And that's not what this is all about. It even starts, you know, with that intention of making time to cook. And I know that we all lead such busy lives. I have 4 children and working and so on. And so maybe this is an approach that you can't do every single day, full steps, but maybe there are elements that you can incorporate. So making the time to cook and understanding that you have a relationship with whoever it is that touched that food, the farmer, the producer, the transportation system that brought it to the grocery store. Visiting your local markets so that you can talk to the farmers about their produce and really identify what's fresh and what you enjoy. It also incorporates the idea of understanding all your senses are engaged. Annette, do you do any cooking at home?
I do quite a bit of cooking, actually, and I really like to bake. And I do baking more for really myself than anybody else, because I love that, like getting my hands into things and making recipes that a lot of times they're from my grandmothers. And so it's kind of remembering them.
Well, you've brought up so many points, right? The whole nostalgic element of baking or cooking. And so often we know, right, that certain aromas or certain, you know, presentations of food will bring you right back to your childhood. And that's what contributes to that well-being. You mentioned that you bake for yourself, and really what you're doing is showing yourself love. You know, what do kids say about grandmothers or, you know, nonnas cooking? Oh, they put so much love in their cooking. Well, I think conscious cooking is really asking us to put that love in taking care of our well-being, starting with a fresh, nutritious ingredients, understanding that we're really feeding our brain, our mind. You know, what are we giving our children in the morning? You know, I remember my mother-in-law used to make pane tostato, which is like a toasted Italian bread, and add some smeared tomatoes, fresh tomatoes for my children's breakfast. And I remember thinking, well, what kind of breakfast is that? That's because I didn't understand, you know, and as you get older, you understand much more about the nutritious aspect that food plays in our lives.
Right.
You know, yes, go ahead.
It's also the service aspect, right?
It's right. So, you know, think of a friend that is maybe not feeling too well, and what do? You go over and visit and you bring food. And that's really an expression of your affection for them, and you're trying to help. And so when we're cooking for ourselves, even if you're, you know, live alone, you're really trying to take care of yourself. And anytime you're sharing your food, well, that's an added bonus because you're taking care of your family, your friends, the people that you gather with.
Right. We've got less than a minute left, but gratitude is an important aspect of this too, right?
Exactly. So not only are we engaging all our senses, but every step along the way, just showing a spirit of gratitude, of thankfulness for the simple ingredients that you have access to, and understanding that perhaps not everybody has that. And that gratitude extends even to the utensils that you have. You don't have to have every gadget to, you know, to produce a really wonderful meal. You just need a good knife, maybe a cutting board, and just an open heart, an open spirit to the whole process. And of course, when you're sitting down at the table, to show that gratitude,
right,
not just to your family and friends, but for the food that you're about to eat.
Okay, that sounds like a great exercise for taking care of our mental health in the kitchen. Thanks very much, Marisa. We'll get all your socials up on our website at chch.com.
Thank you, Annette. It was a pleasure.